Welcome into the Blue Ridge 11 studios. I'm Chad Landers, and the coronavirus pandemic continues to drastically affect sports around the world. And now it's changed the high school sports landscape completely as of April 9th. That's the day parents, coaches, and athletes were dreading as the PIAA was finally forced to cancel all remaining winter sports championships and put a stop to any and all spring sports before they began their regular season. And for a better perspective on these tough choices, let's bring in the District 3's committee member that sat in on the PIAA meetings and the Lancaster 11 Executive Director, Dr. Ron Kennedy. Dr. Kennedy, can't thank you enough for coming on the program today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And we want to get right to your perspective here, a very unique one. As a member of District 3, you're able to sit on the board for PIAA as they were having these discussions as to what to do. Can you kind of clue us into the feelings and the emotions and how hard this decision really was to ultimately just put a stop to everything for the remainder of the school year?
I really think the first thing that needs to be said is you got to give the PIAA a ton of credit. They were on this from the very beginning, and their timeline and their guideline always has been, we're going to follow what the governor's orders were. And I know they're being pressed to make some decisions earlier as far as what to do with the winter championships and what to do with spring sports, but to their credit, they stayed the course and didn't bow to the pressure of we want a decision right away. They kind of let those things play out, which unfortunately they did. So we met as a group, and the board is about 31, 32 folks that sit on the board from all over the state, obviously. And the initial meeting was when we found out that schools were going to close, we're just going to sit tight, going to follow the governor's orders, going to kind of wait and see what we were going to do. And then unfortunately last week when the governor said we're going to close schools for the rest of the school year, we met on Thursday afternoon as a board, and we knew it was coming, but the finality of it really kind of hit home when we as a board just decided, we can't have winter sports. Obviously, we can't have a spring sports season. It was an easy decision in the fact that it had to be done. It was an incredibly difficult decision in the fact to say to seniors and other student athletes, we're not going to have a spring sports season or finish the winter sports.
Obviously, it was incredibly tough for athletes to hear that their senior seasons and the 2020 season would be completely wiped out. I mean, this is unprecedented level stuff. Were you guys able to talk at all about just the devastating news that this would be for these athletes and their coaches and such? And was anybody able to kind of put into words for all of you guys on kind of how to handle this yourselves and also be thinking about these poor kids that now have watched a whole season disappear?
Yeah, I think what had happened is because this happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago where the governor had closed the schools and schools were shut down, we sort of knew it was coming. So what's kind of odd is that we had a little bit of time, I think, to absorb that shock. And then when we actually made that decision last Thursday, again, it's an emotional decision. The one thing that athletics does is it connects kids to school. And that's the thing that you're going to miss. Regardless of what sport you play, athletics inherently connects kids to school. And when you don't have that connection, that's a big void in a student's life. And that's the emotional part. And I know, you take a school like Lancaster Catholic who had a boys and girls team in the winter championships. You're not going to see that to completion. There's teams who had geared up this entire spring sports season looking from last year, the year before, saying this is the year we're going to be really, really good. And now they don't have that opportunity to compete. That's a really tough and emotional situation for everybody. But again, I'll go back to the fact that, we had to make that decision based on what is best for the kids, the coaches, the parents. It comes down to the safety and the well-being of all those people involved. But I think what has come out of this more than anything else is that athletics, and it's not the most important thing, trust me. Academics is obviously the most important thing, and I truly firmly believe that. Boy, athletics is pretty important in high school. It really has a piece socially, emotionally, mentally, and I think that's the part that we finally are realizing right now that we don't have it, and boy, we'd like to have it back because it's there's a lot of good that comes out of it for sure.
Well, and you point that out. I think everybody now, once the kids, the athletes, the parents, the coaches, the administrators, the schools, the fans are all able to get over this shocking news, because it really is kind of a kick to the gut. Now we're all looking forward. Summer, are we going to be able to do something then? Are we going to get, the fall sports in? What is the concern level of the PIAA and other, districts around the state of Pennsylvania that we'll able to get something in, or maybe we won't be able to see fall as well?
Yeah, again, and I give you the PIAA a ton of credit. That is the one thing they've really not done is tried to speculate on the what ifs, because you certainly don't know about the what ifs. Right now we're closed down until June 30th. We'll let this play out. It's only middle of April. So in a couple of months, maybe we'll be in a better spot, hopefully. But we're hoping for a fall season. We're hoping for summer workouts. But I can tell you that the first time someone goes to a sporting event or plays a game or with their teammates, there's going to be a whole different perspective of what that looks like. And that's a pretty awesome perspective. And the fact that, we took a lot of things for granted until this happened, and that's going to give everyone a little different perspective on athletics in general, which is good. Certainly, there are a million things going on right now that are bad. People are losing jobs, and people are getting sick and dying. There's a million things that are way more important than sports, but it certainly has a place in high school. Like I said before, it has a place, and it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty emotional reunion whenever we're allowed to have that. Thanks so much for coming on, Dr. Kennedy. We hope you are staying safe. We wish you the best of luck in all of the decisions that you and your organizations are going to have to make, and we'll check back in with you when some more news is able to be discussed.
Happy to help. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And we will just now wait and see for the next news that comes along here from PIAA and the organizations of District 3 and LL League. Obviously, June 30th is another important one to keep in mind for summer activities to resume. So stay tuned to Blue Ridge 11, brc11.com online, and our social media platforms, as we'll try to keep you as up to date as we possibly can on how the coronavirus is affecting sports in our area.